Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at this right here, which is the high-grade Future Century. That means G Gundam, like it says right there in the box in the background. And this is the high-grade Death Army. Once again, this video right here would not be possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Hobby Link Japan, so if you want one of your own, there is a link down there in the description. Now, on to the review. So first off right here, I'm going to be taking a look at the box. And the one thing that stands out to me the most is, one, the image is awesome. This is one of those kits that we do need a massive set like the 36 Meganax. Still totally wouldn't build it though. But seriously, did they have to write this almost twice on here? That seems a little bit extreme. It's like the more words, the better is Bandai's new approach to boxes. On the first side of the box right here, we've got a front and back image of what this kit will look like complete. Some more information on the different things included in here. That is the weapon, the eyes, the hands, etc. This does say fine build on here, which means it is a simple to build kit, just like we saw before with the Leo and Maganak. And this does have a leg flip up gimmick in here. We've got some information on the Death Army, and just in case you're not familiar with G Gundam, that is up there right now to read at your own leisure. Give it a pause, give it a read. And on the box, we no longer have the price on here, so I will throw that up down here in the corner right now, so you can see how much this little guy right here will set you back. So before I actually get into the kit itself, its looks, etc., I'm going to show everything that comes in the box, and this is it right here. So that is just a weapon and a holding hand for the weapon, 2 standard block holding hands, and 2 alternate feet for that leg tuck up gimmick. So once again, this right here is one of those kits that is designed to be somewhat cheap and easy to build, so that means you can build a whole bunch of them if you want to. Also expect to see a whole lot of P-Bandai ones coming up sometime in the future, because there is a lot of variants of this, including a submarine whale? Never mind. Either way, cheap, easy to build, not a lot in the box. Anyway, on to the aesthetics, and that right there is what the Death Army looks like out of the box, just snapped together with some minimal effort. And what I mean by minimal effort is I just snipped it out once right off the runner, so no double snip here, and I used a little bit of panel lining there in the chest and the head. Not a whole lot, because this isn't all that detailed really. In case you're curious, as for what I used a standard black Gundam panel lining pen, and I cut it out with the God Hand nippers. So once again, just one snip, no double snip, nothing like that, so any nubs that show up on this, they would be the ones you would have to work on. Build time, this took next to no time whatsoever. I'm thinking like 30 to 45 minutes. I mean, this was fast. I will mention though, this wasn't as well laid out on the runners as something like the Leo or the Maganak. Some parts were a bit all over the place, but once again, not so bad, and a super fast build right here. Visually, this kit right here does give me more of an old school high grade feel. What I mean by that is, there is a lot of extra cleanup to be done here. All the surface is in that old school kind of glossy finish. On the whole, the Death Army here is a bit on the basic side, but once again, it is a grunt, so that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Actually, in this case, I think it's kind of good. However, the down points of that does mean there is a lot of surface nubs on this, and because this is glossy, they may be a bit of a pain to clean up. As well as nubs, mold lines are most definitely an issue. We've got some right here on the back of the ankles. Those are very apparent. There are mold lines all over the shoulders there. We've got some right here going across in these little brown circles as well, up on top of the elbow, etc. So once again, this is definitely a very old school feeling kit. Although it may be old school feeling, this kit is definitely not old school. The way Bandai approaches its A-runners by splitting it up into a whole bunch of different colors, even some small sections just for some minimal colors, means that the color accuracy on this is awesome. We've got some red up on that little spike on the head, green on those little bracelet, guard looking sections, red on the crotch as well. And all in all, once again, for a basic kit, this looks absolutely beautiful. The only sticker used, of course, is the one for the eye, but I'll talk about that, well, I guess I'll talk about it right now. So yeah, the only sticker in this kit is the eye. Well, there is actually 2 stickers for it, and they did something very smart with it. The first thing I will mention is the eye can look side to side, but there's such a lost opportunity here, such a missed opportunity. They should have made it that twirling this little segment up here would move the eye. That would have been such a good idea, so you don't have to yank the head off. But anyway, on popping this off, and look how Zaku this head looks once it's detached. That's great. But anyway, underneath, we have that little thing there, which can make it go whoop to the left, and whoop. Oh, missed whoop. Come on, there we go. All the way to the right, so that is cool. The only down point is the fact that you do have to remove the head to do this, or shove something in under its chin. It would have been so awesome if you could just spin his little head spike to do it, but anyway, still awesome. And speaking about the fact that there are 2 stickers on this, not one, if we pop off the top of the head, or just drop it on the ground, that's cool too. Man, seriously, it's gone into that void of nothingness, that black hole that Gundam parts just tend to fall into. And there we go. So anyway, if we do just pop off the top of the head and we spin this around, we see that we've got two different eye types in here. These are molded onto the plastic in case you do want to paint them. So underneath this sticker, those eyes are molded, just not in the correct color. So you can pop this out, and I will mention, it's not easy. But yeah, if you do pop it out, you can flip it round, stick it on like so, pop it into place, on once again with the top of the head, and we still have that little bit of a segment down there for turning it side to side. It's just now towards the back. So anyway, that right there is what he looks like with that alternate eye. So moving on to a size comparison, and this is a little bit shorter than your average Gundam. There is the Justice Knight for a size comparison. There is a standard, whoa, SD for comparison. And as a final size comparison, there it is beside some of the other grunts we got lately, which is the Leo and the Maganak. And out of these three, the Maganak is still the highest quality, in my opinion. The plastic is the best, the color separation is the best. Out of them all, this one feels the best. But as far as grunts go, these kits are awesome, and I hope they make a lot more. So now moving on to the accessories, and here is the high-grade Death Army with absolutely everything that it comes with. It's not a lot, so let's jump right into it. So as for the hands, it's got just your standard holding hands. These are just those square hold hands, nothing particularly all that interesting. We do have one more extra hand right here for holding the weapon, but we'll talk about that when we're talking about the weapon, which is right now. So this right here is the club-shaped beam rifle, and that sounds like I totally made up that name, but I didn't. It's actually called the club-shaped beam rifle. And it is a club-shaped beam rifle. There's not really a whole lot to say about this. It's a beam rifle shaped like a club with spikes on it, kind of like an Oni club. This can be attached into the hand in that standard beam rifle way, so he can be all like, shoot, 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 shoot. Or by attaching in that alternate right hand, which we just saw, popping it into the hand like this, he can be all club, 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 club. The one thing I will mention about this though is he kind of holds it like you'd hold, well, a phone or something. You know, it doesn't look like the most secure grip, but that's just nitpicking. It only has to be one piece, besides the back that is, so to me that is a good thing. This is awesome, and it holds onto it, no problem. So we have two 3mm pegs either side of it here. The instructions or the box don't say anything about this, but I assume you could just stick them in there. No, you can't. You can't. There doesn't seem to be a purpose for these at all. So yeah, this is either for using with other kits, or we're going to be seeing something in future that'll take advantage of those. So next up then, in here we've got these alternate feet parts. To attach these, it's just, well, simply enough, off with the feet, on with these just like that. And then the legs can just swing up behind it like this. You can flip up that little extra ankle armor section up top, and that is what it ends up looking like. And this does not attach into those little pegs in the back, so this backpack adapter right now doesn't do anything with what comes in this box, so of course that's going to be used for something in future, potentially the upcoming Bill Divers version. But I assume this is just your standard backpack adapter pair of holes, and yeah, it is, definitely. That's your standard piece that will slot into a backpack adapter, so this is compatible with anything with the modern backpack adapter. So now moving on to the articulation, and as usual, from that head down. So the neck here is your standard polycap double ball joint, so that does mean we do get a bit of a giggity in here, and a little bit more than you'd expect out of something like this. So there is the head all the way up, there it is all the way down, side to side pivot, and that rotates from there all the way to there. Anything else and it'll just pop off. You might be fooled at first, think that the shoulder here is your standard polycap shoulder, but there isn't that many polycaps used in this build, only these kind of ball joints. All the rest of the joints have no polycaps in them whatsoever. So that means the arm can move forward all the way to there. The shoulder armor is somewhat separate to the arm, not a whole lot. There is the arm off. There is the arm all the way up, so just about parallel to the ground. Actually, I'll do that so you can see. We have full rotation there, full rotation here at the upper arm. So the bend at the elbow is very basic. It's just about 90 degrees. The same does go for the knees. So knees and elbows, just 90 degrees. The wrist here is your standard ball and socket, so exactly what you'd expect. If you pop that off, this little segment can rotate forward and around like this. We also have a nice little joint hidden away in here for this bit of a flex at the wrist, so that's pretty cool. that isn't on the clubbing arm, or should I say clubbing hand, so only on the standard holding hands. The waist design on this is simple and quite effective. You do get a nice little ab crunch out of this, and definitely more than I would have expected. There isn't really anything to the back, no big deal, but that's nice. Side to side is also nice, and it has a nice kind of able to lean into a rotated ab crunch there, so that is nice for posing. As for the side-to-side rotation, it's there to there, so not the whole way around. At the skirting armor, there's the front, it just flips up just like so. Side skirts on a ball joint, so it can flip up, down, rotate forward, and rotate to the back like that. We have somewhat of a premium butt flap back here. This is a little bit loose and tends to curl in like this on me all the time, so that does seem like it could be a bit tighter. Simple fix. At the hip now, there is the kick all the way up to the front, so that isn't awesome. There it is out to the back, that is much better. Of course, that is to facilitate this transformation. So technically, I assume you could just reverse these joints here like this, then pop them on like so, if you really don't care about that backwards movement to get more of a kick, but not really all that much different. The waist is just your standard peg, so no drop down mechanism in here. Let's try out the splits, and yeah, absolutely no problem at all. We already saw the bend at the knee is just about 90 degrees, a little bit more. The ankle in here is double jointed, that's this joint in here, as well as a standard ball and socket joint. We get a bit of forward, back, down, up, but let's test this on the ground. As for the functional movement of this leg, and what I mean by that is what poses you can get while the foot is still flat on the ground. There it is all the way to the front, very limited. There it is all the way to the back, once again, very limited. There is the pivot side to side, so once again, limited. So on the whole, the articulation on this matches the rest of every other aspect about this kit, and that is that it's basic. That right there is its best attempt at ye olde dab, so once again, basic. So that right there is it for the review of the high-grade Death Army. So pretty much like what we would have seen before with the last couple of grunts that Bandai has released from non-Universal Century series, that being the Leon the Maganak from Wing, this is essentially along the same lines. I do feel it's a little bit lower in quality than those two kits, just a little bit. So what I'd give this right here is silver tier. So that means it's pretty much exactly what I would expect from a high grade, especially a high grade grunt like this. The biggest down point would probably be, there is quite a few mold lines to clean up. Those are on a glossy surface, which can be a bit of a pain in the butt. You may need some glossy top coat to cover up where you've repaired it. The knees and the elbows are a little bit limited at just 90 degrees, but once again, this is a grunt, so I guess that gets a pass in that regard. But besides that, there isn't really anything to complain about. For the most part, it's solid, the articulation's okay, you get some basic accessories, but the price does cover all of that. It is a very cheap grunt kit, and on top of that, it's super fast to build, so if you want to build a bunch of them, that is totally possible. Anyway, if you do want a high-grade Death Army of your own, there is a link down there in the description. You can get yours at Hobby Link Japan. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. So once again, thank you to everyone who watches this video, and a special shout out to everyone who supports me in the channel members like Craig Jerry and NQG420, and over on Patreon like Kaiser721, Forged Horizons, Vex Bulwick, Tyler Sanders, Frank04484, and Caleb Engelhart.